Right, going back to the subject of fans, there appears to have been a significant drop-off of floating supporters. It's been a difficult year on the pitch, as we know, with team having won only or barely 50% of the games, which seems to be the most logical reason for the reduction in matchday support. Is it a cause for concern, or do you think we can win them back?
Yeah, it's a cause for concern for the results, and I understand that people enjoy watching a winning team as opposed to watching a losing team. So we've worked desperately hard to, whilst we've got our financial planning, is to put a team on the field, and we've made some pretty good signings, so that we've get that balance right to get those fans back. But you touched on something. Do I think it's just a losing? I think there are some people that are a little bit upset about promotion and relegation. I know quite a lot of the fans, the younger end, seem to have got disappointed about that. You know, that the Fev Ultras is almost non-existent now, and I'm really keen to see those young people come back to the club, understand what IMG is. Yes, it's not promotion and relegation, but that doesn't mean we have to turn our back on it. There are other positive ways to look at IMG.
The loss of 17 players from the Sean Long era was the disastrous outcome of failure to reach Super League at the end of 2023. The financial implications of that didn't help James Ford's cause, did it? No,
and poor Ford. He's had some jip this year. Yeah, I think sometimes injuries haven't helped either. Really, Terry, we've had some real serious injuries. Suspensions, they've not helped either, and I think a couple of those off days really make a difference to that. Where you're saying it's just over 50% that we've won. Moving forward, we're aiming for much better. But yeah, it was. They were really bad times, Terry. I wasn't involved fully. I've heard about it from Mark and from Martin and from James. I think at one point there were 12 players left. I think at one point there was 12 players left, and that can never be good. I mean, you look at 12 players left this time last year to where we are now, with the squad that we've already got arranged for next year, if you like. We've still got some additions to add, and some players that are playing down here now that aren't contracted that we're keen to negotiate with. It's a stronger kick-off point for starters, isn't it, Terry? I mean, yeah.
It's a clean slate really for James, isn't it? Presumably, he'll be judged on the team's progress with the squad of players that he's actually put together himself.
That's right. Yeah, I've maintained that. I've said it publicly at some of the meetings that I'm in full support. Martin's in full support, and the other board members are in full support of James Ford. The time is now for James. So every single player that remains at this club or that he's brought in has the James light. He is accountable for that team this year. Last year, maybe not so, and in some real awkward circumstances financially. This year, it's a different story, Terry. You're right.
So, talking about the squad then for next year, what can the fans look forward to for the coming season and beyond?
Well, I'm not sure when this video is going to get aired, so we've got our presentation this coming Friday, haven't we? I think there'll be a few announcements there. If the fans need some reassurance, we have signed some real class players that are going to be very entertaining to come and watch.
So since becoming chairman, have you identified further changes that need to be made throughout the club to make the club become a well-oiled machine?
Yes, yeah. Again, I feel like I'm not one of these people that sits on the fence, Terry. But it's a yes and no. I'm still really getting into the groove with it. I've purposely met all the divisions of groups, if you like, whether it's the the fans in the 100 club, or the all the women's teams and the men's teams. I've met with the volunteers, I've met with the past players, and we've had lots of real positive meetings. So I understand some of the larger groups a little bit better, but what I don't really get a feel for is the engagement with the fans, which I'm really encouraging. I think we've probably got some news on that, haven't we, Terry?
Yeah, we will have.
Yeah, we will have. We're not releasing that one yet then. Okay.
Right, where do you see the club and its status in, it's a hypothetical question, but where do you see the club in 5-10 years' time?
I'm charging myself with the long view. So, and I have done not just for self-preservation, by the way, because some of the game-to-game stuff, it really gets me down, and I can't afford to be down. I need to be positive, and I need to be forward-looking, and I need to have my eyes firmly fixed on gaining Super League. That's it. Featherstone have already proved that they are the kings of the Championship. They've dominated the Championship for years and years and years, and they've done a fantastic job of doing it. And it's been great, hasn't it? But to get that one step, that's where I need to. That's where I'm focusing on getting us now. 5 or 10 years. Geez, Terry, I don't know, but I hope it's before a long time before 10 years. Is 5 years realistic? 5 years is very realistic. But I want it sooner, if I'm honest. But I ain't going to accelerate us up into Super League, if I can. That is, if the infrastructure isn't right. You need to be sustainable financially to get up there and play with the big boys. Because you don't want a boom and bust. Because sometimes those busts, they just rotate, spiral out of control, and the clubs end up disappearing. And we definitely aren't going to do that. So we preserve the club. We've done that. We move the club forward. We're doing that. Let's get some more commercial opportunities and get this land working for us. Yeah, those are the kind of things that help, on the field and get us those points that we need to get into Super League.
Great, Paddy. Thanks very much for this interview, and I'm sure I speak for all the fans when I say the very best of luck. And thank you for what you're doing.
Thanks, Terry. Cheers.